All right, welcome into the Right Now studio. I am Chris Grow, and joined as always here by Jack Hall. One of the stories that we are going to be getting into and diving into right now is something that you may have heard of, and you may have seen some of the coverage of this, especially if you've been in Riverside County, if you've been in LA. It's called the Golden Pacific Powerlink. This is something that is being proposed by SDG&E. It's going to span from the desert all the way up into Temecula to eventually Camp Pendleton, these large power towers, these power lines. And there's a group that's been fighting back against this in Temecula. They're called Save Temecula. We want to go ahead and play a reel that they've compiled about their fight, their mission, their goal, about why it is that they feel like they don't want this and it's sort of being forced on them in the city of Temecula. We'll go ahead and play this, and we're going to speak with some of the group from Save Temecula here in just a moment.
A plan to build a massive new high-voltage transmission line system connecting the Imperial Valley to San Diego and Orange counties is sparking outrage in Temecula. The proposal from San Diego Gas and Electric, or SDG&E, would mean building a network of colossal utility towers stretching 140 miles. Temecula city leaders say the towers would run through or near Temecula Parkway, Temecula Creek, and the Santa Margarita River.
To SDG&E, you don't want this fight. Temecula is going to stop you every single step of the way. We will drain your time, your money, and your energy. Don't do it.
Please, just leave us alone. You've got a fight on your hands, and you don't want to pick Temecula.
With council chambers packed with residents angry and concerned about how the new towers could impact their neighborhoods, Temecula city leaders grilled SDG&E over transparency.
I can unequivocally say that this project creates a significant risk of fire within the community and the surrounding area. And I would love to hear why you think that's not the case.
These lines are almost never, ever the source of ignition or wildfire. Never.
Almost.
Okay,
Almost never.
So we'd like to see what SDG&E's original 153-mile route that did not go through the urban areas of Temecula, as well as the other maps from the bidders that did not go through the urban area of our city. Would you by any chance have those today? I know that we had asked for them before.
I don't have copies of those in terms of with me.
Temecula is known as a hot air balloon community. So how in the world can hot air balloons exist with 200-foot towers of high power going through it?
How we can get informed, how we can take this complex puzzle and simplify it.
This issue extends beyond politics, ideology, or jurisdictional boundaries. It's about protecting the environments where our children learn, grow, and thrive. Parents throughout our community have expressed concerns about the project's proximity to schools and residential neighborhoods.
I am a Temecula resident and a member of Save Temecula, a community effort working to help residents become informed, engaged, and coordinated in response to the proposed Golden Pacific Powerlink project. As a parent and resident, my greatest concerns are safety, wildfire risk, and emergency evacuation. Temecula has already experienced the realities of wildfire, evacuation challenges, and increasingly dangerous fire conditions. Any infrastructure that could complicate emergency response, evacuation efforts, or access to schools deserves careful scrutiny.
No matter where you live in this town, it's going to be dangerous for our community. It's going to hurt our businesses. It's going to hurt tourism. It's going to hurt our kids.
This is a no-brainer. I mean, there's so much at stake here, and it's right here on the flyer where Save Temecula is spelling this out.
I'm excited to fight for the health and safety of your children with these God-forbidden towers that shouldn't be here.
The Southwest has much to protect environmentally, much that supports one of the more significant industries in the region, and that is tourism. And I believe this would have great impact on that industry, harm the communities.
I am a mother in this community. I have children here, and we are very, very concerned about this project.
The community showed up tonight, for sure. We really appreciate it.
Conference center was full. This center was full. Our city hall here, the patio was full. You showed up, and you showed up in force, and that's what Temecula residents do when they care about something. this community will give you a run for your money unlike any other.
Okay, so that's just a snapshot, a brief summary of Save Temecula, the fight so far. If you will, you'll notice that we have Mike Scalisi and Shaw Renfro in here from Save Temecula. But before we get to you guys, real quickly, I do want to, for our viewers, kind of, again, sort of inform on what SDG&E is saying about the Powerlink and why they feel this is necessary. This is a new 500 kilovolt transmission line that SDG&E would build, own, and operate. It would connect SDG&E's existing Imperial Valley substation to a new substation near the San Diego-Orange County border, so just about where Camp Pendleton is, identified as required by the California Independent System Operator through its multi-year transmission planning process. They say the goal is to strengthen statewide grid to reduce congestion, improve electricity delivery across Southern California. Now, there is a map that's been put out. Mike and Shaw, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us, that shows this sort of journey, that the line and the several towers that will be going in. Obviously, it is going to make its way from the desert eventually to the San Diego County-Orange County line, but it is going to go through Temecula. So I'll let either one of you start here. How much notice were you guys given before that first and sort of now infamous May 26th City Council meeting about this plan, and how much Temecula would be involved in this?
That's a great question. The city council meeting that you just saw some footage from, that was only 2 weeks approximately after the city of Temecula, as far as the residents found out. The city council had found out in April, late April, and had begun conversations with SDG&E, and it was completely news to them, even though this route had been approved in 2024 and given to SDG&E in 2025, and they have had lots of time to be working on it, and gave no notification to our city.
So how quickly did Save Temecula get organized? And if you could, why is it that the group and so many residents who are now joining your group, who have signed the petition, why are they against the proposed route, specifically that section that is going to go through Temecula?
So we formed very quickly because, as you can see, the citizens of Temecula are a very indomitable group, and it was incredible because they heard about what was planned and they understood immediately the threats to our community, and the citizens rallied very quickly. And so Save Temecula, that was within just 2 weeks. We had the chambers full, the overflow full, the patio overflow full, and over 100 public comments were logged against the project. And the citizens showed up in full force, and it's only grown since then. And so, the response again from our community is very strong, and what we would expect from our community, because people love Temecula, and they're fiercely protective of our public safety, of our environment. We have protected habitats that this route is supposed to traverse directly through. We have tribal lands. There's already a severe wildfire risk in our area. And so this community is very concerned about not only the increased ignition risk, but also what it would mean for the crippled firefighting capabilities. Most of these fires are put out by aerial attack, and that would be severely hampered by 200-foot towers in the way. They also have to wait for the lines to be de-energized for firefighters to enter these areas that are directly behind homes. And so there's so many concerns in our community. We have a tourism economy. Hot air balloons are a trademark of Temecula. They drift right into the paths of these towers. We have videos of that. So it's a community that is really responding to the threat that is unique to us, because of the 4 bids that had been presented, only one passed through an urban city, Temecula.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it right now, and again, it's as they said, just west of El Centro. It starts out there, it makes its way north. It cuts through the very south of Borrego Springs. And again, for those familiar with that area, you are getting closer and closer to sort of Palomar Mountain, obviously Temecula. You get into Temecula. And yes, it is the largest and obviously most notable city that it goes through. A lot of it is going through rural areas, which probably could be debated on its own about being out there in that land. Mike, I want to bring you in because you put together the reel that we just saw. We're kind of highlighting again what a lot of the reaction has been. How did you get involved with Save Temecula? I should note, also a former News 8 employee for many years here. But you're in Temecula. I see you. You're at these meetings now. You've become very involved. Did you think you'd be putting together, again, video presentations and stories, basically, again, but this time for where you live?
I had no idea that I'd be involved to the degree I am today, but I went to the first council meeting to learn about what was happening. I had originally learned about this project through the local Chamber of Commerce, which I belong to, and they're definitely against it. So when I went to the city council meeting, I immediately signed up to get involved, and I spoke to Shal a lot about this and expressed to her my background in television news. So I knew that I could step in and help in that manner to help get the word out, inform people. And we're both residents of Temecula, so we're not only looking at it from all of the potential effects to Temecula, but we live there. We don't want to see our town destroyed. For property value sake, tourism, quality of life, fire hazards, as Shal referred to. So, we're coming out fighting hard for this, and through my efforts with providing video content, we want to use that to get the word out to the public and the residents, of which there are a lot of residents that have no knowledge about this potential project. And we've been really pushing to inform those people that don't know, and quite a few of them that don't know live on the creek where this would potentially happen. So
I want to go back to that May 26th city council meeting, because I think that's where we really began to, for those who are outside Riverside County, start to hear about the project, the pushback, Save Temecula. There was obviously a lot of concern over, there's the exchange with the representative from SDG&E about, the very rarely do these power lines cause fires. And obviously everyone is well aware of the Eaton fire and many other fires that have been started because of power lines. Now, different utility companies, but still nonetheless, I think, as you pointed out, Shaw, these power lines have to be turned off, basically, in order for firefights to happen. And then, of course, you have the dangers of them being on, something happening, et cetera. When that meeting was taking place, was there a sense that this was going to be a fight right away? Or was there a sense that maybe we are going to hear something from SDG&E that changes our minds? Like, take me through the mood and maybe the mindset of the group before the meeting got started.
Yeah, that's really a good question, because it was interesting. Even though we had only had 2 weeks notification, really the first week of being aware that this project was happening, SDG&E hosted 4 virtual meetings for the public. And during those 4 virtual sessions, of which I attended them all, they supposedly, they presented the intention, the purpose of the project, and opened it up to community questions. It was a farce. People submitted their questions, very specific questions to their concerns, to many of the things we've already touched on and more, with great specificity. SDG&E gave their key talking points, just the fluff around the project, and then when it came to questions, they were moderated by their own consultant, who softballed them all and let them get away with vague and unsatisfactory answers. So I would say, going into that city council meeting, there was quite a bit of already frustration on behalf of the public, who was already realizing they had been gaslit and was really looking for some honest answers and transparency. And you'll notice the city council was excellent, asked very hard-hitting questions, was pointed, and they were unable to get true answers or satisfactory answers complete. Everything was vague or sidestepped. And I mean, again, I think that just further increases the frustration within the community that our voices are not being heard, and that this is really about profit and not about the people.
Now, obviously, this entire process, while they're doing this sort of like public education campaign, I should point out that it will be the California Public Utilities Commission who has final say on whether or not this happens. I believe there's also a CEQA review, if I'm not mistaken, as well too, about the proposed route. But I do want to get back to that city council meeting, because there was also the exchange between the mayor pro tem and the SDG&E representative over the map, over the specific route that it would take through Temecula. And I know that that's been a key point of contention between your group and SDG&E. So what is the status? Do we know the specific route that it will take through Temecula? I know that there is the map that we've seen that obviously has the sort of broad view, but it is, I guess my question is, A, if you know of the status of this other map or this more specific map, and then B, is there a route that it could take that would satisfy Save Temecula, or is it simply we just don't want the towers in Temecula city limits?
That's interesting, because basically, as far as the maps that have been shown, SDG&E has been very dodgy all along the way. They, even with the first meeting they had with our city, they failed to bring a map of Temecula. They showed the whole route except Temecula, and claimed it was a PowerPoint error. So, you know,
this is the May 26th meeting, or this was a prior?
May 26th meeting,
at the May 26th meeting.
They were grilled on that, but it had happened at a prior meeting.
At a prior meeting, okay.
Yes. And so, you know, again, there's been just such a lack of transparency related to the routing and the maps. And what they have continued to say is this is preliminary, nothing has been decided. But the fact is that we know that for Temecula specifically, our city, they are working within a 1,000-foot study corridor. And their right-of-way, their ROW or row, is going to be approximately probably 200 feet. Within Temecula and the route that they've outlined, there's only one way to get through, and that's through Temecula Creek.
Okay.
And so we know that it's going to have to run right through that creek with the protected habitats between neighborhoods alongside a middle school, which will be directly in its shadow, our community's parks, and all the way up into the hills that are already incredibly fire prone.
Now, for those unfamiliar with the Temecula area, it is obviously a huge residential area, but there is a ton of, as you said, protected area, especially through the Temecula Creek. You have the Pechanga area. You know, there's all of these different sort of elements to Temecula. So how would you best describe that specific area of Temecula Creek? I know you've mentioned that it's a protected space, but there are also homes in that area.
It's very, very populated.
Yeah.
Homes, businesses all along the creek area. And that's also a flight area. Hot air ballooning is huge in Temecula. So to have towers that would pose a danger to hot air ballooning, so you don't always have control over the hot air balloons. It's, you know, based on the wind. But yes, very populated there, as Shal mentioned, homes, schools, businesses, churches. So this is not the place for those towers.
Now, as for again the area in itself, obviously we know Southern California. There's really no area that is safe from wildfires, but in particular in Temecula, as I'm sure all across San Diego County and now into Riverside County, it's dry out there. And I know that that's obviously a seasonal thing, but there's the concern and an obvious concern for fire risk. And I bring all that up to say that just recently you guys have received the support, or I should say the opposition to the Powerlink, but this is support for your guys' cause. This is Riverside County. I believe the county supervisors have just recently voted to oppose this, and then a union representing several Riverside County firefighters. I believe it's CAL FIRE firefighters, right?
CAL
CAL FIRE
came out last week.
What does that do for this? Because I think that and forgive me, this is not what I am accusing of, but I think sometimes a lot of people will be accused of the NIMBY effect, right? Like the not in my backyard, this is a project. But there is a real, and you guys have said this, but this helps to back up and give you that evidence that there is a real safety concern here.
There is. And
Definitely.
And it's actually, I would say that's one that resonates incredibly strongly in our community because, again, we have seen, along that corridor, we have seen fires put out by airdrops. We have, and those are, with copters and with flights that are within even 50 feet of the ground. These towers are supposed to be 200 feet approximately tall. And so the type of access that would be limited because these are directly behind homes. I mean, you look at how quickly fires spread. This could quickly consume a neighborhood. Entire sections of Temecula could be completely wiped out. And to compound the issue, we already have severely restricted evacuation corridors.
Yeah.
The arteries leading out of some of these neighborhoods in Temecula are very limited. In a lot of ways, this part of Temecula is an island. And the towers are supposed to run directly through and along that entire corridor. And so that's a terrifying thought because, again, this is already a concern for our community that our city is working to address, and to compound it by adding such a severe risk, it's unconscionable.
So take me through what's next. I know that there's another city council meeting, and the city council is limited in what it can do. Obviously, they're going to take a look back again of what it is. They're going to reevaluate if I'm not mistaken, and then the Public Utilities Commission obviously is the one that we need to keep an eye on about whether or not they go through and approve this. But for Save Temecula, what's next?
So the city council has put on their agenda for every city council meeting from now indefinitely, which is usually every 2 weeks, to be giving status updates, and that's going to begin on July 14th. And so they're going to be keeping the community apprised and the city apprised of the developments on the project. But the city council is resolutely opposed to this, as you mentioned, the Board of Supervisors. There are many community groups that have spoken out. What Save Temecula is working on is we have filed as a 501c3 organization as well as a 501c4, so we can engage in different forms of advocacy as it relates to this threat. And so what we are doing is we are going to be entering, when this does file as a with the CPUC later this year, we will become a party to the case, and we will be approaching it from a legal and regulatory side with that, as well as we are involved on the community engagement side and really helping to keep the community informed of new developments, how they can be involved, so that where the community's voices matter, they can show up. And we do see from precedent that community absolutely does matter in these cases. And it really, we have such an incredible community. So they're ready. And, it's, as Mike said, we're just continuing to inform people. There are people who still don't know. So that's one of our big jobs right now, is just to spread the word, get people on board so that they can let their voices be heard when it's time.
And there's a petition that's going around, I believe, correct? That
Yes.
has nearly 10,000 signatures.
Over now.
If you guys are over now,
It's
okay,
over
that's
10,000.
okay. Would you guys like to share we'll probably share the link as well too. But if you guys want to give a plug to change.org petition, correct?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was started by another mom on Mother's Day, and has already grown to over 10,000 signatures. And she's part of Save Temecula. And so, it's really been just kind of a community coalition of people forming and, using their talents and letting their neighbors know. And as people find out, they're shocked. And so you can see that in the petition numbers. People are saying, no, this is not something that we can allow here because the stakes are way too high.
Okay. Well, Mike and Shaw, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break, but I really do want to thank you guys so much for obviously joining us here, making the drive down. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be speaking with SDG&E about this project. We'll have that as well as some other reaction to the proposal. We're going to take a quick break after this.